The following program contains descriptions of real violence and loss of life. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This is a developing case. Details may evolve as new evidence emerges. Our purpose is not sensationalism, but remembrance and truth. Leland, Mississippi, a small, close-knit town of barely 4,000 residents, known for its quiet streets, Southern charm, and community pride. But on a cool September night in 2025, that peace was shattered. What began as a homecoming celebration turned into one of the deadliest mass shootings the state had ever seen. Hundreds had gathered downtown to celebrate Leland's annual homecoming parade, a tradition that brought families, students, and friends together under strings of lights and the echo of marching bands. But just after 10:45 p.m., gunfire erupted. Witnesses recall chaos. Bullets tore through the crowd. 6 people were killed, and more than a dozen others were injured within minutes. Local law enforcement was overwhelmed. Ambulances filled the narrow streets. Neighbors hid in nearby homes, some clutching children, others praying out loud. In the confusion, people fell, some wounded, others trying desperately to drag loved ones to safety. The sound of gunfire echoed for what felt like forever, and then silence. By dawn, Leland was unrecognizable. Streets once filled with music were now sealed off with yellow tape. Police and forensic teams combed through shell casings, overturned chairs, and spilled drinks. 6 families shattered, 6 lives stolen. Among the dead were 2 teenagers, both students at Leland High School, and a father of 3 who had been volunteering at the parade. Their names were released slowly as investigators notified families. The town gathered at the high school football field that evening, where the scoreboard lights were turned off and hundreds stood in silence. A small town, now defined by an unthinkable tragedy. Within hours, authorities began piecing together what had happened. Police arrested 9 individuals, most under the age of 25, all allegedly tied to a local dispute that had escalated violently during the homecoming festivities. According to preliminary reports, what began as a personal feud quickly turned public and deadly. The suspects, armed with semi-automatic weapons, opened fire indiscriminately into the crowd. Investigators believe the attack wasn't premeditated, but the result of reckless rage, inflamed by alcohol, social tensions, and years of unresolved rivalries. For survivors, the night remains a blur of fear and disbelief. One survivor told local reporters that she still hears the echoes, the gunfire in her dreams, the smell of smoke, the sound of screams. Leland's sense of safety, gone. By sunrise, the investigation was in full motion. Dozens of law enforcement officers, from the Leland Police Department, the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, converged on the scene. Evidence markers littered the pavement. Spent casings glimmered under the streetlights. Detectives worked in silence, documenting a night that had forever altered their town. As dawn broke, one question echoed louder than any other. Why? Why did a night meant for celebration turn into a bloodbath? Within hours, police made their first arrests. Witnesses identified several individuals seen brandishing firearms before the first shots were fired. Over the next 24 hours, 9 suspects, 8 men and 1 woman, were taken into custody across multiple locations in and around Leland. Authorities stated that many of the suspects were connected through social circles, old rivalries, neighborhood feuds, and gang affiliations that had long simmered under the surface. But the violence of that night, no one had seen coming. In press conferences, police revealed that the weapons used were likely semi-automatic handguns and rifles, all obtained illegally. At least one firearm was traced to a prior crime scene. 6 lives, 6 families forever changed. Among the victims were a 17-year-old high school student, described by teachers as bright, kind, and full of promise. A father of 3 who volunteered at local youth programs. A mother who'd come to the parade straight from work just to see her son march. Their names are now engraved in memorials across Leland. Funerals were held within days. The church pews overflowed. People who hadn't spoken in years came together, bound by grief and disbelief. This wasn't just a tragedy for one family. It was a wound that cut through the heart of Mississippi. In the aftermath, Leland found itself in the national spotlight. Reporters, cameras, and investigators descended on the quiet town, searching for answers. But for the people who lived there, the real focus wasn't headlines. It was healing. Local leaders held vigils, fundraisers, and counseling sessions. The message was simple: we will not let violence define us. But behind closed doors, fear lingered. Parents kept children home from school. Rumors swirled about revenge shootings, and police patrols doubled overnight. As the legal process began, prosecutors promised justice. Charges included murder, attempted murder, and illegal possession of firearms. The suspects faced life sentences if convicted. Court documents painted a chilling picture: a feud that had spiraled out of control, fueled by pride, social media taunts, and easy access to guns. But in Leland, justice didn't erase the pain. As one mother said during a vigil, "They can put them away for life, but I still wake up to an empty room." Months later, the homecoming banners still hang in some shop windows, faded reminders of the night everything changed. The community rebuilds, but the echo of gunfire still lingers in memory. 6 lives lost, dozens wounded, hundreds traumatized, and an entire town left to wonder how something so senseless could happen here, in a place that once felt safe. The Leland Massacre stands as another dark chapter in America's long struggle with violence. A reminder that the next tragedy could happen anywhere. This is not just Leland's story, it's ours. If you believe their stories deserve to be told, like, subscribe, and help us bring truth to light. Because remembering is the first step toward change.